Good morning, everyone. It's Nancy. She's got yarn and Zeus. My baby. Yes. He wanted to say good morning to all my Boggy Creek champions out there. All right, this video is going to start out with part 3. I'm sorry. This video is going to start out with part 3. I think I just choked him. Sorry. Anyways. All right, enjoy. This video is what you guys have been waiting for, and it's going to show the cabins with all of the beautiful crocheted and quilted and Boggy Bear blankets where they are displayed and given to the children. So enjoy. I love you guys. There will be a part 4 because I've got the gears in my head are spinning. There's a bunch of you guys that want to take part in this Boggy Creek next year, and if I had help, like, I think it'd be cool. It's just an idea to, like, we've got Valentine's Day coming up. Let's make some red and white Valentine's colors. You know, if one person just sends in one blanket, oh my God, because it would be incredible. You know, Valentine's, St. Patty's, and I know that I've got some champions out there that have YouTube channels and are just subscribers that want to be a part of this. And so you guys got my brain exploding. I want to think about maybe making this, like, we'll do our annual blanket drive and go up to Boggy Creek and show all the blankets. But if anybody wants to participate in like a seasonal thing, I know I can get people out there that want to do it. I know that Yarn is a Sport channel, Dawn, I know she would want to be a part of it. I know Nina would want to be a part of it. Chris Daniels is a subscriber of mine that want to be a part of it. There's a couple others that have emailed me, and I can't remember their names. I'm forgetful. But tell me what you think. Would you guys be interested in that? But anyways, that is something down the road, but it's something to think about. So, and my brain's exploding. So enjoy part 3. And there'll probably be a part 4 and a part 5, but of me just yammering on. So, but all right, guys, I love you all. I'm not going to put an ending on this. All right, here we go. Lisa San Martino, she reached out to me. She has an RV, and she said we could fill her RV up with all of us girls that want to partake in it, and she would drive us. You know, it just, think about it. All right.
Yeah, this is normal. Yeah. We moved up here from South Florida to Wilson.
Oh, okay.
What a change.
So you had to adapt.
I did have to adapt.
Absolutely gorgeous. They're not the run of the mill.
They don't want to open them all.
Very special.
And they're all lap size?
Well, there
They're
might
different
be
size.
some
Okay.
different.
They're all different.
You might have to just decide who you think could use them.
Well, that's the programs team. So I'll talk about that when we get to the cabins. You'll see how it all works when we get to the cabins. But when we have things that don't fit, I mean, because we have bears sometimes.
This is the art, cool art building, arts and crafts.
President, co-president, chairman of the Arts and Crafts.
Pride room. Gallons of pink. Arts and crafts. This is what I want, a centerpiece for my art craft room.
You want what?
I want an island.
Oh, you need to add on to your room.
Well, Tyler's getting his own apartment, or he's renting. This is what does Boggy Creek mean to
Both
you?
of my hearing aids are dying.
Friends, somebody wrote.
I'm recording. Hold on one sec.
I didn't say it.
I read your mind.
There's one still there from
The left one died, now the
2018.
right one's dying on to do with braiding.
There's a Minion! Oh, look. Everybody fills in the blanks.
Pascagoula, Mississippi.
That was my question.
All right. Okay, so welcome to Arts and Crafts Wood Shop Camper Kitchen. Also, you wouldn't know it, but Beauty Shop. So this is where I'm going to tell you about the gentleman from Phi Kappa Tau who was like, no, I don't think I'm going to stand out and paint the pool. What else you got? So I brought him in here where we had a few medical students from the University of Florida who were volunteering in here to do some things. And I said, okay, here are your choices. You can paint spoons. Remember those spoons I told you about? They get painted every year, those pink spoons. There were a few other things. Or you can test nail polish because this is the beauty shop right before the dance. So you get nail polish and glitter and makeup and whatever it is that makes you look fabulous. And we need to test every bottle because you know what it's like, right? When you get the nail polish that's all goopy, you don't want that. That goes in the trash. And he sat at a table and he went through every hundreds of bottles of nail polish. It was amazing. I was thrilled. So this is also a beauty shop in this area. We set it up right before the dance. And there's nothing like a child who has cancer coming in and putting on their makeup and, putting glitter on their eyes and feeling beautiful, and they are beautiful before they go to the dance, but everybody gets to do that. So these two rooms are arts and crafts. And the arts and crafts vary, again, always pre-planned, everything's very intentional. We do, a lot of times we'll try to have it fit whatever the theme is for the week or the weekend. So if it's 60s week or hippies week, it might be tie-dye. We did one theme where it was superhero week, and we laid out paper on the floor and everybody partnered up with another camper and you got to pose like your favorite superhero and your partner would trace you and then you would get traced and then you would color it in if you wanted to be Iron Man or Batman or Superman or whatever it is that you wanted to do. So the arts and crafts can vary. There's, I think over here you can see where we did some, tile work with ceramics and things like that. So parents love arts and crafts as well. Again, when they come on the family retreat weekend, parents can do whatever they want or guardians can do whatever they want. They don't have to hang out with their kids. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they switch back and forth, to check in with everybody. The room over here that says cooking room is exactly that. That's camper kitchen. That's where they do the cooking. And one year I came down to be a guest chef and one of the campers insisted she had seen me on the cooking channel because I got a costume from the theater and I spoke with an accent and we put gummy bears in cupcakes. Don't try that. But it was a lot of fun. We had a great time. And then wood shop is exactly that. So we have tons of volunteers actually who cut out all of the, I don't know if you guys went in there yet, but they cut out all of those different shapes and they donate them to us, So that's where a lot of retired folks who love to do woodcraft, they'll make a boggy tree over and over and over and send us 100, and that's how we populate our wood shop. And then they can do wood burning on them, the finishing room or the staining room, you paint them, you put googly eyes on them, what glitter everywhere, right? So you can do whatever you want. Wood shop is very, very popular with our parents, and we also do a glass painting class special for our parents. We will do on Saturday evenings after the dance is Parents' Night Out. So that's an opportunity for oldest campers get to do one thing, one pre-planned activity. Younger campers and siblings will go back to their cabins with their pals, and parents have an opportunity to talk to each other. And again, or guardians or grandparents, whatever that adult is in the household. And they may do it during a glass painting if that's what our team has organized. They may do it sitting by the pool, drinking some Newman's Own lemonade. And what happens there, and it does happen very organically, is that's where parents, on that Friday night you were sitting across from each other and you were first meeting each other. By Saturday evening you realize everybody's on the same journey as you, and so now that vulnerability is there, and that ability to have those conversations that you really can't have outside of camp. And when I say that, I'm going to talk about the Fuller family again, who I said Lucas dresses in a hot dog costume and plays the drums. Mom said something to me that I thought was really, it really resonated, and I think resonates with all of our camper families, is when their son first started having seizures in the middle of the night, which is a very specific type of epilepsy that happens in the middle of the night, terrified them, absolutely terrified them. Grand mal seizures in the middle of his sleeping. And they began to see a neurologist down in South Florida. Her family and her husband's family and friends, very supportive, there for them, whatever they needed. But the difference when she came to the first family retreat weekend was, you get it. You've been further down this road. You know how terrified I really am. Your child is doing better. You've gone through some of these treatments that I'm just beginning to hear about. So she said, while everyone in our life was there to help us, meeting other families and other moms and dads who knew exactly what we were feeling every day was a world of difference for her. And it took away that solitude that she was feeling, despite being surrounded by people who loved her. So again, that's what we're doing. We're doing that for the moms, for the dads, for the grandparents, guardians, siblings. How horrible to feel jealous of your sibling with cancer. But that's what happens because they're getting all the attention. How great to walk down Cabin Row on your way to archery and go, sometimes I'm jealous of my sister, and know the other person is like, me too. And it's okay. Nobody's judging you for that. Let's have that conversation. What does that look like? And know you're not alone. Okay, I'm not crazy. I'm not bad. You're having the same experience I'm having. That's what happens at camp. It's with all these fun activities, but that's what it's really about. So anyway, that's arts and crafts. I did have a question earlier, which was, do we take campers from out of state? And generally, children from Florida have first right of refusal. So I would say 98% of our campers come from Florida. We also do not provide transportation. So if a camper did come from out of state, we could not get them here. They would have to get here on their own. We do have sister camps. So earlier I talked about Paul Newman had the Hole in the Wall camp. What he did not realize would happen was there would be more Jennifers and more people that wanted to create camps with the same theory around the world, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. And so when we came online in '96, we were the third camp, and shortly after we were built and open, Paul Newman and his professional team said, if you're going to lend your name to these, there needs to be standards. You need to create an organization that makes sure that they're doing what you expect them to do. And so the Serious Fun organization was created. And from there, people like Kyle Petty, whose son Adam died on the racetrack, wanted to build a camp in North Carolina, and so they did. It's very different than Boggy Creek in that it looks like a NASCAR theme park, it's very NASCAR related, which is great. There is also a camp in Ohio, upstate New York, California, Colorado, and Washington State. They all have their own story of origin. We are all autonomous, and we serve children from our own communities. So there are also camps in Ireland, Italy, Vietnam, South Africa, and I'm forgetting somewhere, Israel, and I'm forgetting another country. So there are camps all over the world. We're all different, and not just in our look and feel. It may be different. The groups of children we serve may be different. Some camps do sibling weeks. Not everybody's in Florida, so not every camp is year-round. So every camp is a little unique and a little different, but we all follow the same medical protocols, the same intention in our programming. Our programs team works together, but we all raise our own money, have our own board of directors and things like that. So I hope that helps a little bit.
Yes,
Yep.
it did.
Yep, okay. So, if you were a camper in this building, you would go out and needed to go to Cabin Row. You would go out the back door and down a walkway, right? And you'd be the other side of that circle. We've got a golf cart. So we're going to get on the golf cart and drive around. Actually, it would probably be shorter for you to go out the back door and follow the walkway. And there's a cabin called Y11. It has a yellow 11 on the outside. If you want to head in that direction, I'll point you that way. That might work best for you. This is wood shop. I'm sorry. Did you? This is what you were talking about. Yeah. Come on in. Yeah, those are the those are the cutouts, and then there's some over here. Wow.
Cool.
Yep. So you're gonna go down the walkway. I believe the sign says the cabins.
Gorgeous.
Oh, look at those chairs they made. Oh, look up on the top. I just noticed those. Cool. Probably out of wood from the trees out here, you know?
Okay. Well, love their artwork.
All their goodies.
Oh, Diane's gonna walk with her.
Yeah. Again, you see the colors. You see red, blue is this way, green is down at the end.
Oh, cool.
4 cabins. Every cabin is identical. We're going to go into this one. Every cabin is identical.
Okay.
During summer camp, one special thing happens here on Cabin Row, one day a week. We don't have fights. We have aquatic activity. So that is where buckets and hoses and any kind of container for water, everybody gets wet. So that's kind of a fun thing. And yes, if you wander down from the building I work in, you're going to get wet. So that's kind of fun. Also, the other fun thing I think about Cabin Row is when we're around Halloween, we do a spooktacular weekend. And it's really like when I was growing up, kids running up and down Cabin Row, you know, knocking on doors, getting treats. Parents can be off doing whatever. It's usually the pals and the volunteers. Parents can hang out here during it. But it's like the old-fashioned Halloween, you know, everybody's safe, everybody's in costume, and everybody has a great time. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So come on in. I hear nice voice. I got it.
So the cabinets are color coordinated. Oh, look. This is where your quilts are gonna go. They have
So, now you get the bears and the Afghans. So let me start with this. All of those 300 Afghans that you guys brought, we have folks who make bears, aside from the women's club, and Afghans for us. And when we were in the dining hall, one of the 2 women who work for us that does all of the housekeeping for this property all year long walked through. And I want to give a shout out to them because I want you to think about that for a second. So during summer camp, there's 150 kids. There's counselors. We're going to get to the other side of the cabin in a minute. At the end of the week, all the sheets are changed, all the towels are changed, they're all washed, they're redone, all of that. Everything is clean, disinfected. And we were disinfecting long before COVID because we have sick kids. In every building, not just the cabins, right, between sessions. They do all of that work, 2 ladies. They also do this. They take every Afghan and every bear and they color code them in clear bags. So all of those Afghans will be divided up into bags for matching colors. The quilts we keep. We don't give the quilts away, but we have quilts and people that make quilts for us. That's where all the quilts come from. They do the same thing with all of the quilts. So they have all of these in a storage area that are organized by color and sometimes by theme. So that when it's time to do that change out and a new week of camp starts, they match the Afghan to a bear to a comforter. That is their gift to the campers, is that when a child walks into this cabin, it looks exactly like this. Every camper gets a bear, every camper gets an Afghan, and they get that same feeling you guys did of, wow, you know, I want the John Deere bed, or I want this, or I want that, you know what I mean? And that really is above and beyond as far as I can tell you. I can't believe they do it. So that's what will happen with all of those Afghans. Any Afghan that does not fit the measurement, so they don't go at the foot of the bed, will go, some of you said they belong on the back of a sofa. So remember I told you about the housing that we have for all of our volunteer doctors and all of our volunteers and all of our volunteer nurses. They will make sure they get put at the base of their beds or on the couch in that room, so that, and they won't take them home. That'll become part of the medical lodges and the volunteer lodges. So they will go to use, and somebody who is a part of camp and a part of the family like you guys are will get to stay warm from them. So thank you for that. So I don't want you to think that they don't get used. They do get used. It's just the adults get to use those, right? So when you're the first kid in the summer that comes in, you get the first choice of bed. Now, after that, the bears and the Afghans could get mixed up, because that first camper may go, I want that bear with that Afghan, and they can mix it up, that's fine. So kids come in, the beds can be moved around. You know, they don't always have to have bunk beds. Every cabin looks the same, but the number of beds may be different depending upon who's coming in and whatnot. There may be some beds that don't have bears if we don't have a full cabin of kids. And then the kids put all of their items here and in the bathroom. So these are open. So I know, did you have things to put in there? Maybe you had nothing. Maybe you had the clothes on your back and maybe another change of clothes. So we don't look for clothes donations, but we have enough that if a child doesn't have anything else, we can make sure that they get something else. Whether that's an additional change of clothes, because we also have washers and dryers nearby, toothbrush, toothpaste, hairbrush, you know, whatever it is that we think that you want to need to be whole. And we don't point it out to you. One staff member, the counselor, and these are mostly college kids. They don't have to be, but they're mostly college kids. And I always know the world is in good hands because I work here and I see the young people that are about to take over that you don't see on the news, quite frankly. One of them will circle back and look and make sure, okay, they need this. And then we've got stuff stashed out front, and they'll go in the front and they just put it in there. And nobody says anything because you don't need to, right? The other thing is bedwetting. So all the beds have plastic sheets on them. So when the kids get up in the morning and they head to breakfast, or their first activity, which is actually before breakfast, one of the counselors will double back, check all the beds. If somebody's wet the bed, they change the sheets, nothing gets said. They crumple up the bed however it looked so that, you know, nobody's the wiser. Because it's just about having the time of your life. It's about having the best week of your life, right? So anyway, so that's part of the magic.
So they don't make the bed, they just kind of try to leave it the way it was.
No,
So
before their first activity, they don't make the bed. But you bring up a very good question. So after your first activity, you head to the dining hall for breakfast. After breakfast, everybody comes back to their cabins, and the job is to clean the cabin. So on your first night at camp, you make the rules of your cabin, and it comes from the campers. Like we don't want to yell, we don't want to wake up people, we don't want to use bad language. One camper once said, I don't want to spit, no one should spit. Okay, that's probably a good rule. So we'll write that down. And then everybody gets assigned a job. So there's jobs, which are cleaning the bathroom, sweeping the floor, cleaning the porch. So there's all these jobs as well. So they come back to the cabin, they make their bed, they clean the cabin, they all take their assignment and they clean their cabin, and then they leave. And then while they're off at their first activity, cabin fairies, who's usually full-time staff members, just don't tell anybody, come in, and then every pride gets graded on who was the most energy efficient, who was the neatest, who was this, and then at dinner one night during the week are awards. And it's amazing how every pride will win an award of some kind. So yes, they do make the beds. They do make the beds.
Yeah.
They just don't do them when they first get out of bed. And then at night is cabin chat time. So oldest campers, again, because, you know, when you're getting into the teenage years, you want to be a little special. So they may have a special activity. They may be able to go to arts and crafts instead of having to go to bed. Like they may have something special that's been set up for them. But everybody gets cabin chat at the end of the night. So that's when all the campers kind of sit down on the floor, sit down in a circle. They're probably grabbing that Afghan and hugging their bear and talking to their friends about their day. And that's, again, where we talked about those moments for parents. That's where a lot of that organic communication starts to happen for the kids. And they're talking to each other. The counselors are here, and they're here to address anything, but And you can sit on a bed as well if you're more comfortable sitting on a bed,
I
please.
heard that creak and I thought, oh.
Well, I mean, it's whatever you're comfortable with. I don't think you're going to break it, but if you want to sit on a bed, I think it's probably a little more comfortable. Yeah. If anybody wants to sit on a bed, please.
Thank you.
So cabin chats are those moments where kids they'll either say thank you, which happens a lot, or they'll talk about how they were really afraid to go boating and fishing because they've never been around a lake before, and they're so amazed that they got to catch a fish, or whatever that is. Or today I learned how to do my factor. Have you guys learned how to do your factor yet? And it may be conversations about things that don't happen at camp. It may be, I had a seizure last week. I haven't had one since then. I hope I don't have one while I'm here. And so they're supporting each other. And under the watchful eye of our counselors, so our summer staff counselors that we hire for all summer go through a month of training. They don't have to be medical, but they need to understand how to help kids have a great time, because we're not their parents and we don't deal with them like parents necessarily would. How do you redirect? How do you deal with a child that's hot and angry and tired and sick? I'm over it, and I'm walking by myself down Cabin Row. And what do you do when that happens? Because that's gonna happen, right? It's August, it's Florida, some kid's gonna get cranky. And how do you do that? So they go through like a month of training. What do you do if a child tells you something that might be happening in their life that is not okay? What does that look like? Because that can happen. If a dad feels that comfortable getting on stage, being that vulnerable, kids are going to open up about things. And what do you do with that information? And what are the laws and all of that? So there's a lot of training that goes into being a staff member. And then the volunteers get a whole day of training. So you're bombarded with the information, but it's amazing how much of it you retain. And together you're here to keep them safe while they're having fun and having those moments. And if they feel like something is needed, they may reach out to leadership. There's a process so that maybe a psych soc might call a parent at the end of it and say, hey, we noticed this or whatever, so that we know our campers are taken care of. Anyway, so there's that. They have their own bathroom. Everything is ADA. Everything's accessible. And then you have the sliding door. So come on over here. This door slides. In the summer, this is where your counselors are. Campers on this side, counselors on this side. Family retreat weekends, family on this side, family on this side. Come on over.
Okay, go ahead. Go first.
So the other thing sometimes people ask is they'll say, well, I made a quilt, but it was only that big. We'll find a place for it. Because our medical facility is called the Patch, that's where the whole quilt thing came from. It's where you go to get patched up. So on this side, they have their own restroom as well. So 2 families, like I said, family on this side, family on that side, counselors on this side, usually 2 paid summer staff members. We don't pay them a lot, but we do feed them and house them all summer long. And then volunteers on this side. During family retreats, the volunteers are in separate cabins. So there's a cabin at the end of this row. We'll drive past it, and we passed one at the beginning of this row. That's where you go when you volunteer on a family retreat weekend. And you are in a bunkhouse style, very much like this, with other folks that are like this. And every cabin is the same. 16 cabins, 2 sides, 32 families on a weekend, and 150 kids in a week is our goal.
Wow.
So the counselors are volunteering up here, and the kids are over, so if they.
Yep.
They probably, like a mother with a new baby, you get attuned to that sound.
You
know,
do.
like, you're like, my hurts.
They
Nobody else hears them, but you
are,
hear them, you get.
Yep, you are so right. So I did, it was a long time ago,
Everybody
because
gets
I
a
was
towel.
dying off. I had to do something. I had the youngest.
No, I
kids.
know. Yeah, I think it's kind of neat.
And you're right, I was amazed at how they could hear them move, and they would be out of bed and looking, sort of like, everything okay? Everything's okay, and come back in. I was like, wow. Like I said, I know the world's in good hands.
I've
We're
done
gonna be
stuff
okay.
like this before.
My daughter went to Camp Crystal.
I don't know
And
how to do
she
stuff
had,
like that.
12 years old, I think, and there was a child with some illness, but they took the child. She was okay. They had a nurse there, and I think she had special feeding tube or
Okay.
something. They were playing a little card game.
Yeah.
But she told me this, and so she had to lay down, and when the nurse left, she just had to stay a certain amount of time. But all the girls came over and finished the card game with her so that she could play with them.
Yeah.
And they worked it, and then the counselors told them they had to go to bed too, but they got their flashlights and went back to play. I'm sure the counselors knew it, but they stayed around her
Sure.
so that she could be part of it. And I
That's
was
awesome.
like,
That's
oh,
beautiful.
how nice, girl. Awesome.